First up this evening, the focus on Chief Minister Siddaramaia's record 16th budget. While the focus remained on funding welfare guarantees and keeping the pressure on deficit and borrowings just under permissible limits, the budget had some interesting aspects aimed at consumers, like capping movie tickets in the state at 200 rupees and leaving consumer items prices largely untouched. There are concerns, though, over capital expenditure and increased borrowings and deficit.
Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah presented his record 16th state budget, one that remained focused on the Congress's welfare guarantees and the party's vote-based social groups. Some of the highlights are: the total budget overlay is of 4 lakh crore, revenue deficit is pegged at 19,262 crore, borrowings amount to 1,16,000 crore, fiscal deficit has been kept under 3% of GSDP, the capital expenditure stands at 71,336 crore. Welfare guarantees to the tune of 51,304 crore figured in the budget presentation. Bengaluru city infrastructure was one of the focal points. 8,916 crore has been earmarked for a 40-kilometer double-decker flyover project. 300 km of additional roads, tunnels have been sanctioned. 300 crore has been set aside for startups. 100 crore for deep tech. While the BJP called it a minority appeasement exercise with long-term financial consequences, the Congress defended the budget as one that balanced fiscal prudence, Bengaluru city's needs, and the party's commitment to welfare measures. With Veera Raghav, Bureau Report, NDTV.
It's a minority appeasement halal budget.
Priyank, the first reaction from the BJP is that this is a minority appeasement halal budget. How do you respond?
I think the BJP does not understand the working of budgets. They don't understand the meaning of revenues. They don't understand the meaning of tax. They don't understand the meaning of revenue surplus or deficit budget. They don't understand about loans. They don't understand about economic empowerment activities. I mean, how is that we have delivered 4 lakh plus crore budget? How is it a halal budget?
This government, the popularity is very, very low. It is not at all this thing. See, they are in the process of doing welfare schemes. They have come down heavily. They have drastically reduced the capital expenditure, which is going to cost the state very dearly in the years to come.
Look at how we have placed our budget. While we have maintained welfare, we have also ensuring that we create a better environment for investment and create more employment. For example, the LEAP program that has been announced in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns, that's the local economic acceleration program. I think that's going to be a game changer for Karnataka. And tell me which government does not rely on borrowings, but we have the capacity to repay. That's why people trust us, federal agencies trust us, external agencies trust us.
So Siddaramaiah budget, when he presented the last year budget, we had said that he will not be able to achieve these figures. If you look at the final figures now, he has fallen short of more than 9,000 crores of tax revenue. And whereas the central government tax contribution has come more than anticipated. Central government grants are more than anticipated. But even then he ends up blaming central government for not giving enough support. Whereas he himself is not able to collect what he had promised. This is the second year in a row where Mr. Siddaramaiah has missed his collection target. Again, this year also, in his proposed budget, he has shown that he will be able to collect 15.5% more tax collection than what he has already done. The state is growing at 7.4% percentage. How can he collect 15% more? So this budget is full of false figures.
I'm not sure if you have read the entire budget book as yet. I think there's a great impetus on IT and industry to push it beyond Bengaluru, not just Bengaluru. Although Bengaluru has been given 7,000 crores for infrastructure, but the entire budget's focus is on increasing economic activities beyond Bengaluru, create more hub and spoke models around Bengaluru and in other regions as well. Like I said, create better economic activities, stimulate growth, create more employment, ensure that we not only power Karnataka, but we power for the nation as well.
Okay, the BJP has given its one-liner. What is your one-liner as far as the budget to describe it?
Oh, well, like I said, it's an empowering budget.
and the Congress. But joining me this evening to make sense of the numbers and understand what's in store for Karnataka and Bengaluru, respected Professor Narendra Pani. Also with us this evening to focus on Bengaluru, urban governance expert Sridhar Pabishetty and B.S. Murthy, CEO of Human Capital. My first question to you, Professor Narendra Pani, and this is one that we've raised in the past as well. With fiscal deficit bordering just under the legislatively permissible limits and increased borrowings, are welfare schemes and the financial outlay for them sustainable in the long run, or are they beginning to show the pressure on the overall state finances?
See, the way the welfare schemes have been designed, or the guarantees have been designed, they have a fixed budget. So as the size of the overall budget grows, their pressure on the budget begins to decline, which is what you're seeing in this budget as well. The amount that is being given to them is for these schemes, for the guarantees, is a little less than last time, but you can take it as broadly at the same level. That allows the budget to invest more in other areas because the overall size of the budget is growing. So that's basically they have managed to freeze the welfare where it is. So now the issue is that what do you do with that surplus, or what do you do with the additional funds that you're getting from a larger budget? That is something that we can debate, but the welfare is no longer a point of pressure on this budget. It is really, you could argue that the budget does not, sorry.
As you make that point, sir, is fiscal deficit and increased borrowings a concern for you in the long run?
No, I don't. I think it is broadly within the limits, and I think you need to make use of these limits, particularly if you're at a time when consumption is sort of beginning to taper off a bit. It's useful to use the budget in a way that keeps that demand going. Obviously, there's a risk of overdoing this, but I think the act that he's following, the fiscal, the limits that have been set, I think they have been thought through and they have been established for many years now, and I think it tends to work. As long as you're willing to function within those limits, you can use the leeway you get from borrowing.
Right. Thanks very much there, Professor Pani, there on the larger overview of the budget in terms of the larger financials. But Sridhar Pabishetty, when you look at Bengaluru itself, in terms of tunnels, roads, IT parks, startup ecosystem, what do you believe are the key takeaways? Enough in the budget for Bengaluru?
Yeah, I think there's a larger point of trying to look at what solutions you are trying to prioritize over here. Though the amount is looking good for tunnel roads and double-decker flyovers, the question we need to go back and see, is this the best way to put money in? Public transport could have been prioritized over these infrastructures. We need to decongest the city. Additional, these projects are not necessarily, at least the tunnel roads are not necessarily prioritizing public transport. So we need to look at that problem and be cautious about it. I would have wanted to see a lot more emphasis on public transport to decongest the city, right? Secondly, in terms of fiscal management, just to add to what Narendra Pani sir was saying, the state is increasingly dependent on borrowing, which will limit our ability in the long term. We are almost at 25% of GSDP when you look at our total liabilities. So we will end up with 7.64 lakh crore of liability, and this is something for us to watch out for. Otherwise, we will end up, our future options will reduce. What's also important now to see is how much of the beyond Bengaluru will deliver for us, right? And if, as the minister said, beyond Bengaluru has got a lot of potential. If that's going to happen, then we have a lot more breather coming in for this year and next year. So it's important that beyond Bengaluru functions as well as whatever we are planning for Bengaluru also goes forward.
Right, Mr. Murthy, one of the smiling points is that movie tickets being capped at 200, which is sort of gone viral as expected online. But, you know, the fact that consumer prices across the board have been left untouched would be another big plus as far as consumers are concerned. What do you think are the key takeaways as far as Bengaluru is concerned?
I think it is also, entertainment is a part and parcel of life. As we know, the movie tickets were up to about 1,500 rupees in the first 1 or 2 days. It was insane. And it was simply out of pocket for anybody to go and watch a movie with a family of 4, you would end up paying 4,000 to 5,000 rupees. Tamil Nadu, I think, was the first state which did that, capped the ticket prices at about 200. Karnataka has done it, which is actually a good thing. It increases the ability of a moviegoer to actually go and enjoy a movie in the theater rather than everywhere else. I personally think it's a good move and it's a welcome move.
Right. And overall, in terms of Bengaluru, quickly, what would you believe key points? Go ahead, Sridhar.
Bangalore, yes, I think as Mr. Sridhar also pointed out, Bangalore is always a work in progress. It never stops. And just to give, I'll take 30 seconds. Bangalore by area is about 740 square kilometers. We have 1.2 crore vehicles. We have 25 lakh cars, which is the most car-driven city in the country. We have more cars than Delhi. So any amount of roads or other things are all work in progress. I think the only way, the stretch of metros extending up to the outskirts of Bangalore, increasing frequencies, I think there is the only way.
Absolutely.
9,000 electric buses coming in is a welcome back. It also reduces a little in terms of the, what to say.
Absolutely. I think
that is also the best part.
I think Sridhar's advice would be go watch a movie at $200, but please take the metro to the movie hall. Don't take a car.
Yes, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Well, since budgets and movies are also related in a different angle, when we look at the national budget, the challenge was about saying GST kitna lagega, popcorn ka kya hoga. I hope Siddaramaiah also had put some cap on the popcorn price in the movie theaters as well. Right? So that's a missing point.
Oh, you're not just interested in cheap movies, you're interested in cheap popcorn. I'm really sorry. I wish we had more popcorn time to discuss this, but unfortunately, we've completely run out of time on this discussion. We'll have to take a very short break here on the Southern View. When we come back, lots more.